Hello guys and gals, and this is part 8 of our reading of Whodunit, You Decide. 4 mini mysteries for you to solve by Conrad and illustrated by Lucy Corvino. I have to say the illustrations are amazing. And again, this says all rights reserved. As far as I can tell, there's nothing preventing me from making a video of this book anyways. So anyways, in the last one we talked about a black widow, someone who basically kills their husbands for the money, apparently, but that was an interesting case. We have here the hot designer. Okay, Venushka Designs of New York was the hottest fashion house in the country. Its founder, Vera Venushka, had led VDNY through 8 spectacular years and was reaping the rewards by taking the company public in a sudden stock offering. The delicate financial negotiations had been hindered by Venushka's cold. She reportedly caught the bug one afternoon while walking on the beach during a thunderstorm. For several days, she stayed homebound in her Southampton mansion, while Manny Moore, her chief financial officer, worked out details with the bankers. Despite her debilitating summer sniffles, the flamboyant designer kept in touch, driving Rose, her personal secretary, nearly crazy with an onslaught of faxes and memos to everyone in the company. On Monday morning, VDNY made its debut on the stock exchange, soaring $20 from its opening price. But on that same evening, a tragic fatal fire took place, and when the market reopened the next day, Tuesday, VDNY stock headed into a nosedive. Not only had Venushka's charred remains been found among the ruins of her mansion, but Harv Grant, her brilliant assistant, had been arrested for arson and first-degree murder. The Southampton courthouse was packed as the young, meticulously dressed defendant was let in. He hardly looked like a killer, but as the prosecution pointed out, Harv certainly had a motive. Prosecution. Harv Grant came to Venushka fresh from the Fashion Institute. She took a chance with the unproven designer and was rewarded with 3 years of blockbuster collections. Vera Venushka was certainly aware of Harv's value, and she made him a promise. Very soon after the spring collection was shown, she would give him a share in the company. After all, Venushka's financial officer had a piece. So did Rose, her longtime secretary with VDNY. When VDNY finally went public, Harv could sell, growing rich with the rest of them. It was a promise Venushka betrayed, and that betrayal led directly to her murder. Harv slaved over the new collection, then flew off on vacation. On that fateful Monday morning, he was relaxing on a Mexican beach when he happened to glance at last Friday's Wall Street Journal announcing the upcoming stock sale. Harv grabbed the first plane back to New York, and by that evening had arrived in the Hamptons. We do not know what transpired between Miss Venushka and the irate young man, but we do know the result. Harv knocked out the senior designer, left her in the kitchen, and then tinkered with the toaster oven. 5 minutes after he left, when the appliance's timer went off, an electrical fire was ignited, fueled by a pile of newspapers on the counter. Harv was counting on the fire to make a cold-blooded murder appear like an accident. Defense. When my client arrived at the Venushka house, naturally he was angry. No one answered the bell. The servants having been given 2 weeks off, so Harv broke a window and let himself in. He wandered around, but Miss Venushka didn't seem to be there. It never occurred to him to check the kitchen. His employer was hardly the domestic type. 10 minutes after arriving at approximately 8:20 p.m., Mr. Grant drove away. Both his arrival and departure times have been documented by observant neighbors. 10 minutes, hardly enough time. 10 minutes. Hardly enough time to kill a person and arrange the elaborate electrical fire he's accused of having set up. The evidence is circumstantial at best. The fire left no prints, no proof at all, and that he'd been in that kitchen. The prosecution cannot even establish the cause of death with complete certainty. For all we know, Miss Venushka may have accidentally set the fire herself, then died of a heart attack before she could escape. Stranger things have happened. Your job is simply to find the defendant guilty or not guilty, nothing more. But you can't help wondering what really happened that night in Southampton. Trial witness and evidence. This crime can be solved with 2 clues. Prosecution witness, Miss Venushka's secretary, Rose Clark. Rose Clark. I was in the office late that night. Miss V called about 8 p.m. She said she was at the house, but from the reception, I could tell she was using her cellular phone. Miss V used that cell phone a lot. It was a designer model, and she was partial to it. Did Miss Venushka speak to anyone else? I'm sure other people in the office heard me talking to her, but no, since her cold, Miss V communicated only through me or through Manny. I'm sure the phone company can supply you with the exact time of the call. The prosecution later produced records showing a call from Vera Venushka's cell phone to VDNY offices 7:53 to 8:05 p.m. Prosecution witness, Fire Marshal. Fire Marshal. We arrived on the scene at exactly 8:55. The fire was already out of control. I know all the mansions in the area, all the people too. I called my office and asked them to get in touch with Manny Moore. I figured someone should be notified. He was having a dinner party at his house, maybe 10 minutes away. He came over immediately. Can you describe the kitchen after the fire had been put out? Well, Miss Venushka was on the floor, lying on her back approximately 5 feet from the counter where the toaster oven was situated. It was the most badly burned body I'd ever seen. Did you find Miss Venushka's cell phone anywhere in the room? Yes, we found the blackened remains of a phone right on top of the toaster. It was pretty well toasted, no pun intended. The representative from Nokia was able to identify the model, a custom-made design they done exclusively for Miss Venushka. Prosecution witness, coroner. The coroner. The body was close to the blaze's center, so there was a lot of damage. A surprising amount. Massive tissue damage, ruptured eardrums, severe nerve damage as if they'd been fired, a broken femur, even cataracts on both corneas. Vera Venushka had literally been burned to death. Then you would say she had definitely been alive when the fire started? Absolutely. For most fire victims, what is the cause of death? In most cases, it's smoke inhalation. But Miss Vera didn't die of smoke inhalation. She was burned to death. Correct. Could the cause of death have been something other than the fire, say a severe electrical shock? Perhaps, but it would have been an extremely severe, more than you could ever get from a toaster oven. Okay. Defense witness, phone company technician. Defense. The charged cell phone discovered in the kitchen. Can you positively identify that as Miss Venushka's? Phone technician. The phone was a custom design Nokia. There's only 2 similar instruments in existence, one owned by the defendant and one owned by Manny Moore. So you can't be positive that it was Miss Venushka's phone that was burned. It could have been Mr. Moore's or Mr. Grant's. Well, normally we can tell by the circuitry or the ID code. Both of these were obliterated in the fire. So it could have been one of the other 2 phones burned in the fire. You really don't know. Objection. Where is this line of questioning headed? The defense merely wants to show that the call recorded as coming from Miss Venushka that night did not necessarily originate from the phone found in the kitchen. Prosecution Exhibit A, burned umbrella. The prosecution's case was damaged by the coroner's testimony. In the hope of emphasizing the intensity of the fire as the cause of death, the district attorney introduced a beach umbrella that had been stored in a closet just a few feet from the toaster oven. The metal frame is severely scorched, bent from the heat. The fire expert testified that the umbrella could only have been reduced to this state by an intensely hot fire. Prosecution. And in your opinion, could such an intense fire kill someone before he or she died of smoke inhalation? Objection, witness. Oh no, objection. Witness is not a medical expert. Objection sustained. Okay, let's check this out. Okay. Here we go. This is the deliberations. Let's go and do this. The hot designer deliberations. The first thing you and your fellow jurors focus on is the cause of death. Despite the evidence of the beach umbrella, several jurors doubt that a simple house fire could be intense enough to inflict that kind of damage on the body. Fried nerves? That seems very hot indeed. And why was there no evidence of smoke inhalation? A fellow juror points to the absurdity of making a cell phone call from a house filled with regular phones. But then, fashion people are a little absurd to start with. And the defense's obsession with the cellular phone mystifies you. Even if the charred telephone belonged to someone else, Miss Vanushka had still made a call from her phone to her secretary from 7:53 to 8:05 p.m. This had been documented by the secretary herself. To doubt this is to conclude that the secretary is lying about who called her. Why would she do that? Okay, let's find out here. And the verdict is in. You find Harv Grant guilty. In a note to the district attorney, you encourage his office to check the burned mansion for a large food freezer. The police find just such a freezer inside it. They discover frozen hair strands matching the victims. An interrogation of Mrs. Vanushka's secretary produces a confession. Secretary. All right, Vera died 4 days before the fire. We went on the beach together, Manny, Vera, and I, when a storm suddenly came up. As we were carrying our things back, a bolt of lightning struck her beach umbrella, killed instantly. Just a few feet from the house, the servants were all on vacation. No one else had seen it happen, just Manny and me. We were devastated. Her death had occurred at the worst possible time. VDNY was days away from its public offering. Manny and I both owned stock. If knowledge of Vera's death could only be postponed, we could sell our shares and be rich. So we invented Vera's summer cold and for the next 3 days fooled everyone into believing she was alive. The freezer kept the body from deteriorating. It was Manny who engineered the fire. It would thaw her out and disguise the lightning damage. Even the fried beach umbrella would be accepted as a natural result of fire. Manny laid out the body, rigged the toaster oven, and took Vera's cellular phone, leaving his own phone on the scene. That night, Manny called me on Vera's phone. I pretended to be her. The house is in the same cell, and the phone company has no idea exactly where the call originated. He said this would establish that Vera was still alive. It was all meant to look like an accident. We never intended for Harv to get caught in the middle. I'm glad the juror found him not guilty. Oh, yeah, you find Harv Grant not guilty. That's right. So anyway, I guess that he wasn't guilty after all. That's good. Okay, so we have been reading Whodunit, You Decide, Mini Mysteries for You to Solve by Conrad, illustrated by Lucy Corvino. And if you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. And if you want to support me in any way, all the information will be in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.